Hi, I'm Jono, and if you're new here, I do pencil drawings. The criticism that hyperrealists often get is, what's the point of just reproducing something photorealistically and making something that just looks like a photograph, something that you could have just taken with a camera that would have been a lot easier and quicker to do, that could achieve the same effect. And this criticism is really valid. I used to stumble over it quite a bit and feel kind of really unsure about what I was doing with the genre that I loved and with the work that I was really drawn to, and I kind of couldn't really reconcile those feelings. Also, just a quick thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Every now and then I'll get a comment or a question on one of my videos or posts asking why I spend so much time recreating something that just looks like a photograph. And that's a very valid criticism, and I think it's important to think about the work that we're doing. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about the genre that I practice and that I'm interested in, and I couldn't quite put a finger on why I was interested. I think one of the reasons I love this practice is that I'm interested in art that depicts honesty. I'm interested in work that captures a snapshot of another perspective that I might not have, something kind of raw and visceral and very as real as possible, almost a snapshot of another's life. Part of unpacking the genre for myself came from understanding where it originated. This fascination with the rawness of life dates back to the realism movement, which started in the 1850s. Realism was considered one of the first modern art movements and was revolutionary in its focus on the everyday lives of working class people. Instead of the highly controlled portraits that were favored at the time, realist artists began to paint the world exactly as they saw it. At the time, they were criticized for going out of their way to create unideal images, often with ugly colors, awkward expressions, and unflattering compositions. It was also seen as a deliberate snubbing of academic artworks, which were often characteristically soft and idyllic. What I've always loved about realism is its focus on the individual. In my own art, I'm drawn to depicting life as I see it. For example, it's been cathartic to explore mental health and its metaphors. I wanted to look at the ugly side of the human condition, often trying to find a visual representation of what it might look like to struggle against an unseen adversary, or if there's beauty in the parts of ourselves that we have the urge to turn away from. When thinking of how to approach these topics with honesty, hyperrealism made sense to me. Using a clean and meticulous technique to articulate a vague and messy subject matter added another dimension to my work. There's a catharsis, I think, in the pursuit of perfection, both for the artist and the viewer. I can hear the trolls already. Like, that's all good and well, but why not just use a photo or Photoshop to depict exactly what you're describing? I guess the obvious answer here is the time that it takes to produce one of these artworks, but even that is a little bit difficult for me to wrap my head around sometimes. It kind of comes down to the feeling I get when I see an artwork that's been executed perfectly, that I can see the amount of time that's gone into a specific piece. Something that couldn't exist without that dedication and that time invested into that artwork. It's almost like a certificate of time spent. When you see the detail and you realize the weeks or months that went into creating something like that, it sparks a specific type of fascination. Time is a commodity, and therefore it automatically somewhat adds value, but at the same time it asks a question: is something worth spending that amount of time on? And it almost implores the viewer to look a little bit deeper into an artwork and kind of ask the viewer if they agree, if they think that the subject that's being portrayed here in this hyper-realistic, hyper-detailed, excruciatingly painful long amount of time was worth the actual pursuit. And the hopes, I think, for the artist is that the viewer can connect with what they might have been feeling in creating that artwork. And I think that space is really interesting to me. There's a definite shift in value happening when it comes to time. Society demands a lot of us, and burnout is more common than ever before. leading a balanced life has become a marker for success, and working for the sake of working is no longer applauded the same way that it was before. This has me thinking, since art reflects the current state of things and hyperrealism's goal is to reflect life honestly back to the viewer, how will this shift in perspective change the value of the genre? I think one of the unspoken merits of hyperrealism is the time spent on each work. This might just be an association for me though, because I view creating art as a form of work, and our relationship there is changing, but perhaps it's the other way around, since we are promoting pursuing our passions over work. This might just be a phase in which more and more people take on the challenge of pouring their time into pursuits like art and hyperrealism. Either way, there is a change happening, and I think that that's going to affect the space, and I'm really interested to see where that leaves hyperrealism. Before I go, I just want to give a quick shout out to this video sponsor, Squarespace. I've been working with them for quite a couple of years now, not only with this YouTube channel, which they've helped sustain in the most incredible way, but early on in my career, they played a crucial part in helping me build that career. And that was by having an online space to show my work and help people find me. It's so important to have an online portfolio to help clients find you and to create a platform to make it easy for them to get in touch with you. And for me, I felt that Squarespace just did that effortlessly. I never had to patch or upgrade anything. I could register a domain with them or set up an online store. And most importantly, I could design a portfolio and show my work the way that I wanted to. Also, every time I got stuck, their amazing support team helped me out instantly. So if you're looking at building a website, give Squarespace a try. And if you decide that you love them, use this offer code and get 10% off your first purchase. I'm really interested to hear what other realists or other artists in this kind of genre feel about the criticism of their works just mimicking a photograph or having no real artistic merit other than just being photorealistic. I'm really interested in hyperrealism, and I think despite those criticisms, I still absolutely love this genre. If you disagree and if you do think that it does lacks artistic merit because of that, I'd really love to hear what you think and your reasons for that as well. So let me know in the comments if you like this kind of style of video that's more kind of just asking a bit of a question and sharing some of my thoughts around something that I see quite often. Let me know, and I think I'd love to do more of these videos as well. But anyway, if you enjoyed it, leave a like. It helps the channel out in a huge way. But as always, thanks for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.